trying to cut down on paper. All right, I have 6:30 on the computer. Does everyone have 6:30? You want to start the meeting?
On the nose.
All right, very good. It is, and the town hall screens is working well. So I'm Catherine Roos, the town manager, and I'll be welcoming you to the meeting this evening. One of the rare times over the history of the town, and it has happened a few times, we do not have a mayor or deputy mayor, so we'll be conducting those elections right off after a few ceremonial items. So as the deputy town clerk working for Nicole Nicklin, our town clerk, I have the ability to open up the meeting, which we will do. So please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. So please
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Then we'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you for the moment of silence. So going straight to the agenda, we have council members elected at the November 2021 election. They will be taking the oath of office and will be seated. Our first councilor is Councilor at Large Michael Chincat. So have Michael come up front and we're going to swear him in. So you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, Michael Chincat,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects observe
that I will in all respects observe
the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of
the
Pittsfield,
provision of the charters and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of town
of
councilor,
the office of town councilor
3 years,
3 years,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state.
and laws of the state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
We'll have you sign so you become official.
So this is kind of like drinking the Kool-Aid again, huh?
Yes.
Sign right here.
Yes, right here, please. Thank you. I'll fill in the rest afterwards.
So I just gave you a blank check and what you mean.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, darn. I know you snuck in that 3-year thing. I don't remember that before.
All right, very good. Our next counselor will be Eric Saucier. And you're going to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eric Saucier,
I, Eric Saucier,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects observe
that I will in all respects observe
the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
the provisions of the something of the town of Pittsfield.
charter
Charter of the
and
town of Pittsfield.
ordinances of the town of Pittsfield, that's okay, and will faithfully discharge the duties
And will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of town councilor,
of the office of town councilor
3 years,
for 3 years,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state,
and laws of the state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. We'll have you sign.
Eric, you were so close.
That was actually my
You'll have to get it 3 years and get it.
That's just what we do. This is all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. And the other things are inside.
And our next oath will be for Ronald Jester. We'll have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Ronald Jester,
I, Ronald Jester,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and the ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of town
the
councilor,
duties of the office of town councilor
3 years,
3 years,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state,
and laws of the state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, 2 big gulps of Kool-Aid.
That's
All right.
I'm very back now.
Very good, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, you can, but we'll just hunt you down.
Right.
So now we have 7 counselors. And so we will continue on to the first item on the agenda, and we will need a motion, and then we'll have nominations. Order 22-1, order that the town council elect from among its members a mayor to serve for the 2022 year. So we can make a motion to approve the order and put in names, or you can just approve the order for discussion and then make nominations, your choice.
I move we approve the order 22-01 and move to discussion.
I'll second that.
So now the floor is open for motions, the nominations.
I think Mike's probably the only one that really wants to be the mayor, so I think it'd be a good position for Mike. Anyone else feels the same, or?
Do we have any other interested parties? So you'd want to make a motion.
So what we've done before is just get the names and then vote on them.
Yes.
I move that we elect Mike Chinquette as Pittsfield mayor. Need it seconded, or?
We'll need a second.
I'll second that.
All right, and we have no other candidates, correct? Correct. All right, let's call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, very good. Michael Chinquette is the mayor, and so we will swear him in as the mayor. So we'll do this all again.
All right, here we are.
Yes, right now. Thank you. I
I, Michael Chinquette,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of
and
Maine,
of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of mayor,
the duties of the office of mayor,
term 1 year,
term 1 year,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state,
and laws of the state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
All right.
I'll have you sign
Thank you.
it. Thank you. So you're now in charge.
All right, I'm gonna do it right from here instead of moving everything up there. So let's just continue on, folks. Thank you all very much. I hope I do not let you down. I do my best to make that vote all worth it. Thank you. So, Catherine, if you'd like to read order 22-02, please.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Order 22-02, ordered that the town council elect from among its members a deputy mayor to serve for the 2022 year.
So I'll look for a motion or a nomination from the floor. Anybody? Is there anyone interested in being deputy mayor?
I guess if nobody else will, I would.
I mean, I can, but it's up to you. If you want it, you can have it.
So
What if you prefer not?
Peter's a senior member, so that's
Okay.
something to consider.
Well, still a vote regardless of
It
the
is-
Decide what
seniority.
you want to do.
Are you interested?
I am. What is the functions of the deputy mayor? So I'm clear.
Very
on the
good.
functions.
So the functions of the
Make me look
mayor
good.
are ceremonial and to run the meetings. The mayor will go to presentations and speeches. However, during COVID, it's been very quiet due to attendance requirements. There haven't been many. And basically ceremonial.
If I can't make a meeting, you'd sit in for it.
Yes, and then the deputy mayor would just.
But I'll make every one of them, I promise.
Good. If Mike promises to make every one of them, I mean,
I will absolutely, everything within my strength to do that.
Yes, and I would assist whoever is the deputy mayor. It's not hard to run the meeting because I mostly have to read the items.
Anyone else? Any other names? All right, very good. So we have Councilor Wojciech interested in deputy mayor. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, it passes. Welcome aboard, deputy mayor. You need to swear him in also?
I do.
All right.
oh, I forgot that.
Well,
Yeah,
this
you
was
didn't call me Harry.
unexpected.
Chief, it's your mess.
This was unexpected that you are the senior member. Very good. Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, Peter Wojciech,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the
that I
Constitution
will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United
and
States
will obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and the ordinances of the town of
and the
Pittsfield,
ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Deputy
the
Mayor
duties of the office of Deputy Mayor
1 year,
1 year,
according to the
according
Constitution
to the Constitution
and laws of the state,
and laws of the state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. We'll have you sign. Pete's used to signing his name. He comes in and does the warrants first before anyone else.
Get on the date.
You're all set. I'll fill the rest in.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Pete. Welcome aboard. I'll not be able to make the next meeting. Made you sweat, didn't I? All right, so next order of business, the adoption of minutes. So I'll look for a motion for the adoption of minutes of the regular meeting held on December 21st, 2021.
Move that we adopt the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and second, and any discussions, councilors? And we get a chance to take a look at any issues or changes or concerns? All right, very good. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of adopting the minutes of the regular meeting held on December 21st, 2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And it passes. Thank you very much. Catherine, if we move on to presentations, congratulations and introductions, please.
Very good.
Thank you.
Community and economic development activities and events, grants and projects. I'm going to keep it very brief and combine this so that most of the information is in the town manager's report. But basically, our Main Street project is coming to be a reality. DOT has been working on their part of the project, which is the road. The town has the sidewalk and some other items. The whole project, when it's completed, will transform the downtown. I'll mention later in the town manager's report how we're looking for volunteers to be on the various committees and looking for people to look over the plans as they come in from the Maine DOT. Beyond what they presented at their public informational session, and then the plans that the town puts together the sidewalk project. The sidewalk will extend from Somerset Avenue and Main Street intersection up as far as we can go, and we hope to get to the back entrance of the industrial park. And I think we will, because we received some additional grant money That was absolutely wonderful. So that's really going to help us. So as you know, the sidewalk is in varying conditions of disarray, I guess is the best thing to say when you have concrete sidewalk that has trees under it and branches and everything have the trees have really affected it. So this will be a wonderful advancement for the downtown. There'll be a lot of other work that will be done too. So these projects will be coming up, and they will involve the Project Canopy grant for the planting of trees along Main Street further down as we get towards Maine Central Institute and the library. There will be a lot of other projects too. We also have our airport grants coming up, which is in the millions of dollars, and some other smaller grant opportunities. So as we keep the first meeting of the year pretty short, I won't go into a lot of detail, but I'm going to present and put together some information on all of the grants, the due dates, and how they all tie together. It's not only for the public because it's our responsibility to do that, but it will also help myself because we have more grants than we've ever had before at one time of a magnitude of this size. We've had a lot of grants before. I think we're up around 200 now, but we haven't had this many large projects going all at once on the same timetable. So I'm going to put that together, and I think that that will be very helpful for the public to understand and to see the transparency of all the money that will be coming into the town, and it will also be very helpful for myself in managing those grants. So quickly, I'll go on to a certificate. We know that we have a major change in town with Buds being sold to Danford. And so we wanted to thank Dean Homestead and his family for all they've done for the town. So we have a certificate of congratulations, which I will read, which is in the packet for the councilors to sign. Indicate signed this 4th day of January 2022. The town of Pittsfield would like to congratulate Mr. Dean Homestead of Homestead Enterprises, doing business as Bud's Shop and Save, on their outstanding presence in the town of Pittsfield from April 30th, 1959 to January 1st, 2022. While it is the end of an era, there will be many fond memories of heading to Bud's, seeing your neighbors and friends, and getting caught up on what's going on in people's lives. Thank you so much to Dean, Bud, Chris, and all of the staff over the years that have made us feel at home at our Bud's Shop and Save. You made a large difference in our lives. I'd also note you can only fit so much on here, but there's also a little economic engine for the town because so many teenagers have worked there as well as adults that have made it their career. So they've been a great summer job for people learning skills as well as a great career for people. So congratulations to Dean Homestead. So we'll have this certificate put into a nice frame, and if our mayor would like to present it, he can do that.
Sure
We
will.
can make an arrangement for it.
Sure, we'll coordinate later.
All right,
Thank you,
very good,
Catherine.
thank you. And then ceremony, I put down just quickly to think about how we have a counselor who served for 24 years, which is the record in town for town councilors, being Mr. Tim Nichols. And I thought it would be nice to present him with a plaque as well as maybe a little gift for his dedication. That's a long period of time to be a town councilor. He was often mayor or deputy mayor and served on so many committees and volunteered for almost everything. So I thought we would set that up at the next council meeting or the meeting after that, depending on his work schedule. As we all know, Tim would have to run out at 10 or 11 o'clock when we had later meetings to go to work. So he was quite dedicated. So if the councilors are interested in that, we'll set that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Any feedback, council? I think it's
Yeah, that's a good
I
idea.
think definitely. If you need any input from us on anything,
All right, great.
please feel
Anything
free
you
to
can
reach out.
think of, like for a gift, we could all chip in on, or the plaque we'll take care of. Yeah. Anything
Okay.
you can think of would be great. Or
All right.
fun stories, you know how Tim likes to tell his stories there. You might be able to, do some jokes on it too.
Only Don Hollenbeck can beat 10 to 10 with telling stories.
Well, very good, thank you. The next item is freedom of access training. And it says that the training is to be no more than 2 hours. Let me assure you, it is not going to be 2 hours at all. You have a copy of the information in your package on freedom of access law. And I have some larger copies on the table in case the print is very small. I definitely had to make mine larger. That's how it prints out. So a training for elected officials is required on the Maine Freedom of Access law. And we used to let the councilors go to different trainings or go to the website and print off the information, but people would get busy and sometimes it was hard to get all of the trainings done. So at the first meeting in January, when the council has its change in officials, we will go through a training. So some of you will have had the training many times and some of you are new to the training. So basically, this is for elected officials on Maine's Freedom of Access law. This started in 2008, so we've had trainings either through people reading the information on the website, going to a class, or on the last 2 years here in the council chambers. So the minimum requirements for the training is to go over the general legal requirements about public records and public proceedings, which we'll do, comply with the request for a public record, and then penalties and consequences for failure to comply with the law. And so basically, the elected officials at the municipal level who are required to have this training are number 5 under elected officials. It has municipal officers, clerks, treasurers, assessors, and budget committee members of municipal government. And so you had in your package a certificate that will be signed at the end of the meeting. And if some of you don't want to rip them out of your package, I have some extras on the table up front. So we will go through the frequently asked questions, which are on page 2 of the handout, but page 21 in your package. And the number is down in the right-hand corner. So page 21 has the frequently asked questions. And so the Freedom of Access Act is called FOAA, and you'll see it also listed as FOAI. But technically it should be FOAA, a state statute that's intended to open the government of Maine by guaranteeing access to public records and public proceedings of state and local governments and agencies. It's not applicable to the federal government, although that might be helpful sometimes. But basically, this is for the state and local governments. If people have concerns about freedom of access and that they can't get records, it would be kind of severe to do this, but people can appeal to the Superior Court in their state. They can go to the Attorney General's office or the District Attorney. Usually if you call the town a few times, you'll get the information that you need, whatever town it is. But if there's a severe problem, and there's been a few in the state of Maine, that's why the law came about, 3 or 4, the Attorney General's office or the District Attorney's office would be very helpful. Penalties for failure to comply with the Freedom of Access Act are listed on page 21. These have to be willful violations. It can't be that somebody's out sick or on vacation and the request comes in and people don't get the information, or the request gets lost or something. It has to be willful, that people refuse to give the information constantly. And so, if so, there are fines that are involved for civil violations and also criminal violations. If this continues on and somebody intentionally removes, alters, or destroys documents belonging to a state office, it's a Class B crime. There's one town in the state where records were destroyed, and there was a penalty that was unfortunate, but it did happen in one town. There is a public access ombudsman who is a public access individual or position with the state that's listed on the state website where all this information comes from, and all you have to do is just put in Maine's Freedom of Access law, Google it, and the state site will come up. There is an individual that people can call in the Office of the Attorney General at 207-626-8577 to get more information, or you can just go to Maine's Freedom of Access Act and it'll come right up. So there's some repetitive information that I'll skip over on page 21, and we'll go to page 22. It notes what is a public access officer, and a public access officer is a requirement in each town and in the state government in the different offices. But for a town, It's an individual who is designated to serve as the contact person for the agency and counties are involved, municipalities, school administration units like SAD 53, and regional or other political subdivisions when there are requests for public records. And so the town manager is designated here to be the public access officer. And there is training that's required. We've had the training several times. Whenever we've gone to conferences and the training course is offered, or I've gone online and taken it, so I take it pretty regularly. The training has to have the items I listed on the first page, the general legal requirements, procedures, and requirements about complying with the request, and the penalties and other consequences for failure to comply. And so that training has been taken. It's been taken by other town employees also. There's no certification course that's required, and the training is required of new officials not later than the 120th day after the date that the person assumes their role with the town government. So that's why we're having it at the first meeting, just to take care of this and get it out of the way. And then you'll do your certification. So the most important part of this is exactly what is a public record. And so that's in the middle of the page here on page 22. The FOAA defines public record as any written, printed, or graphic material or any mechanical or electronic data computation from which information can be obtained directly or after translation into a form susceptible of visual or oral comprehension. So basically it's anything that's in the custody of the agency or a public official that's in the office or in the state. That is a record. So it's basically electronic records, audio records, and written records. It's just a fancy way of saying that. We used to have the audio records, and we still have them from all the old council meetings going back maybe 20 years. Before that, they were disposed of and probably shouldn't have been, but they weren't here after a while. But we do have them from when I came, filed away. Once in a while we have to go back and get into them, but usually you use the written minutes. So it talks about a few items on, different items on, do you have to have a certain form for this? And basically there's no required form. Some towns have, because they have a lot of people that request items, will have a form that needs to be filled out, but basically you could just write a letter. It's probably better to put it in writing instead of asking verbally, because people are busy and sometimes we'll forget to do things. So it doesn't have to be in writing, but it's probably better to do that. And so what you would put in your request, and again, these are, I should explain, these aren't asking for assessing records or copies of tax bills or copies of your water sewer bill or copies of minutes or budget. You can get all those things. This is when, let's say somebody wanted to know, when were all the culverts put in the town of Pittsfield? Now, obviously, we're probably not going to have a record of that, and we would ask, you know, are you interested in a certain road? Is there a certain issue going on? Is there a drainage issue? So we would ask some questions to find out what was going on, because there's literally hundreds of culverts in the town of Pittsfield. So generally we'll ask people questions, and then we'll find out what they have and then send them to the appropriate individual or find the information. If the information exists, sometimes you can search for the information, and the information just simply does not exist on certain items. You could, and typically a road discontinuance is something that we get a lot of calls on. When was X road discontinued? It may be that we have absolutely no record of that, and oftentimes we don't. The town of Pittsfield is really blessed in that you had several studies done by MCI students, college students, and a study that was done by one of your former public works directors, who went through all the records that were available to the town and came up with a list of discontinued roads. So that was very, very helpful. The issue comes up when people want information on roads that aren't listed there, or roads that have no name. And you can get out the books and look through them, but you can spend hundreds of hours, which I literally have in a couple of cases, and just not find the information that people want. It's just not there. The town of Pittsfield had a fire in which some records were destroyed, but they had a flood which destroyed a few more records. Some records may be at the Pittsfield Historical Society in storage, and so that's an avenue we didn't think of early on when I came, but they did have some interesting records there. Mostly not the source documents, the original records, but records in which people wrote out what was in different source documents. So that's been a source of helpful information. So basically, if people want information, they can just ask for it. They don't have to put together a whole request and everything and call it a Freedom of Access Act. I think we've had hundreds of requests each week for different information. But when something is complicated or people are starting to get into a legal battle with their neighbors or think something that needs to be fixed, that's when usually Freedom of Access comes up. So just so everybody knows, if you want a copy of your tax bill or your auto registration or something, you don't need to do a Freedom of Access. You just come in and ask for it. We take care of it. So when we get a request, we would acknowledge it. And basically, you're supposed to acknowledge it within 5 working days. And so that doesn't include the weekend, depending on when the agency works. But it's a 5 working days, Monday through Friday. It doesn't include holidays. So sometimes a request will go to, and this has happened, gone to the highway department and it sits there for a few days. So when we do get it, it's good to acknowledge right off. We received this, it was at the highway department, we apologize, we'll look into it. And usually it's something to do with one of the roads. So you do not have to provide all the information in 5 days, because often you can't. We get some requests from out of state, from agencies that do research on how town governments spend their money, and they will literally ask for records from 2009 up to now and ask for a copy of everything. And so you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of pages. So you try to narrow it down, and the town's financial program TRIO has come up with a way to go back in your records and print out the information that the individuals will want. You just give them a whole, it's all the records of the town from whatever years you have available and have kept. Some years, because of the size, you would not archive them. So far we're archived for each of the years since I've been here, but that's a lot of information, so we're probably going to have to put it in a different source rather than just in the computers and run it all off. But right now we have information from like 20 years from when we first started the new TRIO program then. And so there is a way to run a record on all that information. You send it to several PDFs to the company, and then you usually don't hear from them for a while. And then they'll make that request again and say, we'd like the information from 2006 up to 2016. So we send the information again. I don't know what they do with it, but they ask for a lot of information. So there is a program so that we don't have to go through and print out everything. So often you do have to print out items, and so depending on what those items are, there are some items that are confidential, personnel records, discipline, health information, privacy type items, lawsuits, union negotiations. There's a whole variety of items that would not be available, and you would simply send a letter and explain why it's not available. List the state statute that indicates that it's protected. Oftentimes it's rare that you would get any of those items. Some of the southern Maine towns do get some interesting requests, but normally ours are basically discontinued roads, financial data, your budgets from the last 10 years, and things like that. And oftentimes it's not even a freedom of access. It's just simply just a request for information. So you have to narrow it down because you can't give people 400 or 500 pages of information, and they don't want that. They want a specific item. So you ask some questions. So skipping over to page 24, we can ask as an agency what people are interested in, but people don't have to answer it, but to get to the item that they want, we do sometimes have to ask questions. So there's a section that indicates what happens if an agency fails to provide a written response. And so There are appeal processes at the state, and also if they think that people have not provided the information that they should have, it can go to Superior Court. That would be very rare. There's been some cases down in southern Maine over different personnel issues and union stuff that has done that, but it is unusual. So agencies can deny requests if they're unduly burdensome, like searching all the town records for information on, let's say, a discontinued road that's not on the list. We're probably not going to find the information. If we think it's valuable, we'll go through items. But at some point, we'll show you our safe so you can see how many records we really do have. So it's usually good to narrow down the items. And so looking down through this, yes, agency or officials emails public records. That's on page 24, about 2/3 down, absolutely. So what you would do in your emails is just keep them to the topic at hand. And so normally that's fine. We've actually put all of my emails, which go back to 2002, on its own computer because it was clogging down my regular computer. And so when people ask for items, I can just go in and do a search as best as possible. But having records going back that many years of emails, sometimes the search gets clogged up and just spins constantly. So you try to find what the people want. For the town, it's been very valuable because you can look up anything that you want, and if you can leave it there to chug along for a while, you can get the information that you need. That would be very helpful. An item that's very important is information contained in a communication between a constituent and an elected official a public record? That's almost down at the bottom of page 24. And it notes information of a personal nature consisting of an individual's medical information, credit, or financial information, character, misconduct, or disciplinary action, social security number, or that which would be confidential if it were in the possession of another public agency or official is not a public record. And so there's a few other categories that would be added to that. However, if there are other parts of the communication that talks about snow removal or something, that would be a public record. So yes, the town can charge for public records. However, pretty much the law indicates 10 cents per page, and our cost is more than that, but that's what the law sets. And you can charge for the number of hours that you work on this at a certain rate. The rate's been different amounts, like $10 an hour or $15 an hour. But if you're going to do that, and you see a large project, and it's going to be over a certain amount, over $40, you need to tell the individual, say you have a lawyer that wants a copy of every document on a piece of property because there's a civil dispute with the neighbor over fencing or something, and they want a codes enforcement records. And it's going to be a large sum of money, let's say $50. We need to tell them, so we can find out, do they really want that information or not? And generally, if they've contacted us on something like that, they do, but you need to give them notification if it's over $30. And there is a section that talks about whether records are covered under the Freedom of Access Act on like a standing request. So if somebody wants information, let's say they wanted a fire permit report every month, would you send that to them automatically? And the answer here is no. However, I do have citizens that every time a budget gets passed, they send that to them. Council packages, we send those to several people that are interested in them, but they're over the email, so there's no cost to it once it's in a PDF. We've got some other items that people will ask about, the building permit list, and so we send that out because those are on public record. So that's not an issue as long as it doesn't get out of hand. The next section and the last section that we're going to talk about is public proceedings. And so it indicates what is a public proceeding. And the term public proceeding means the transactions of any functions affecting any and all citizens of the state by the Maine legislature and its committees and subcommittees, any board or commission of a state agency or authority. Goes on to list some of them. Any board, commission, agency, or authority of any county, municipality, school district, or any regional or other political or administrative subdivision. So basically, SAD 53 has public proceedings. The town of Pittsfield has public proceedings. The Kennebec Valley Council of Governments. The Somerset County offices have public proceedings. And so, public proceedings have to be open to the public, and any person is allowed to attend. There has to be public notice, and that differs on what the items are, whether it's a couple of days to a public hearing in which you need at least 7 days. And under a charter, certain items like the budget require a lot more than 7 days. So there'll be notices that will be listed. And public notice has to be listed in enough time to give people the knowledge that they know they'll be attending. Like the town will take its events listing, and once we get past the beginning of the year and closing out the records and opening up the new year, we'll list all the regular meetings of the boards that are set, like the town council and the planning board, if it's going to take place. We'll list them on the events calendar, so they'll have all of those. But there'll be other meetings, like finance committee will set meetings, and they'll change their meetings, and so you give as much public notice as you can. It notes, can a public body or agency hold an emergency meeting? Absolutely they can. Try not to. You have to give the notice and make sure that people know when that meeting takes place. The charter lists for us that it has to be 24 hours that the agenda goes to the town councilors. So we make sure that we post that in 24 hours. It notes, can public bodies or agencies hold a closed door discussion? That's called executive session, and there are very few of those, and there are only a certain number of items that you can have that for. It's very rare. We only have a couple a year. If we had some large economic development projects that would come to the town after peak, or Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation, or just to the town separately, and the individuals thought that having it out in the public would hurt their ability to do the project, then that can be something that would be an executive session too. But it is rare, and you try not to have many executive sessions. And so the item that will come up that often gets discussed is what happens when there's 3 counselors go to lunch someplace, see each other, and start sitting down and talking about stuff. So our regulations indicate that 4 is a quorum. However, the Maine Municipal Association indicates that 3 actually is the number of counselors that should not be together discussing items. And this can all happen very innocently. You see people at Bud's, it's a typical place, or at the Elks Lodge, or at a store, or even at the town office. So there shouldn't be discussions about town business, discuss other things. People will ask whether they can record a public proceeding. Absolutely they can. It used to be people would bring the little tape recorders in, but now you can see the live streaming, you can look at the digital, you can look at Zoom and everything, so you have a lot of other options and don't have to use a tape recorder, but some people will still do that, and they can. And just looking through the rest of this, minutes are always available to the public after they've been approved. You can issue draft minutes, but you have to make sure each page does say draft on it, because there can be errors, and you don't want people to get the wrong information. And it talks about remote meetings, so I won't go through that because we've gone through the whole procedures and have a remote meeting policy, so that we have the Zoom here available. Counselors can be on Zoom if they're away or ill, and there's a reason why they can't come to the meeting room. And so on those particular occasions when we do that, we have to have roll calls on the votes so that we can ensure that the individual is voting on each item, and they need to have their name on the Zoom call so that we know that that's the individual. And so we have that written policy. And asks if people can provide public comment, and the town council has always been very good about that and allowing public comment on items. You will go to some towns where you can't comment on anything till the end of the meeting, or there's a public session at the beginning. So This town's always been very open to comments and helping people and having questions and everything. It talks about roll calls, and for our meetings, we take the roll call informally, but if we have votes in which we think that everybody's not voting all affirmative or all negative, we will take the roll call. And of course, if there's a remote meeting, we will take the roll call. So there are some statutory exceptions to Maine's Freedom of Access Act, which are on page 28. And I had noted those previously, but they list health care information, disciplinary action, personnel records, and a variety of other items. Union negotiation material is certainly one. Economic development projects often can be too. So that is the end of the formal presentation for your training, so that you don't all have to go do it separately or go to a class or anything. Does anyone have any questions? So basically what we would take out of this, we have a lot of public proceedings and they're open to public. We have a lot of public documents and generally almost everything is open to the public. Technically, you don't need a freedom of access request or make a notice to come down to get a copy of many, hundreds of different types of documents that people pick up. But if there's something more formal or there's an issue with neighbors or something that's an issue, sometimes people will use the freedom of access. We've had a number of those, usually on the financial records of the town, and usually coming from out-of-state companies that are using the information for some purpose, some sort of research. And I still don't know, but we've had about 20 of those now, over 20. But luckily, TRIO did create a program so that we can go in and, half an hour you can produce all the information in a PDF so that you're not running out copies and charging people, making out bills and sending out packages and everything. So that's really good. So if we're all set, we'll sign out paperwork if you don't have any questions.
Any questions, councilors? All right. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Thank you.
You all set with that?
We are all set.
Okay, so we'll, you said you have the copies you want us to sign on the
Yes,
front
on the
desk?
table if you want
Okay,
to
then
sign
maybe
it
we'll do that.
afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much. Public hearings, there are none. Number 5, reports. We'll go through the council committees. Likely there aren't any. Let's go through the process because that's part of the resolutions for this evening. Finance Committee, Ordinance Committee, Recycling Committee. All right, very good. Board and committee updates by town councils and manager.
Holiday season, so we haven't had any.
Right, we'll do that. So let's go right to the town manager report, please, Catherine.
All right, very
Thank
good.
you.
The councils have before them a town manager's report for January 4th today, and there are copies on the table. I'll be very, very brief. This is information just to remind the citizens of different items, and we want to make sure, number one, that our town offices, many state, federal, and municipal offices will be closed in observation of Martin Luther King's Day. That will be Monday, January 17th. So that day will be closed. We don't want you to come down and try to do town business, so you have an unnecessary trip. So you plan your business around that. 2, we'd like to remind everybody we do have the online burn permits. They are free of charge. And on the town website, we have the listing of where you can get those. Number 3, the 2022 transfer station stickers are available. We've given out hundreds of them, but there are many more people to come in. Residential stickers are $20 each, commercial are $40. The system is working out very well. Number 4, dog licenses, and this is something that particular is a concern to us. We want to make sure that everybody does get their dog license. If you have a dog over 6 months old, and that's not because it's good to have the record, because then if the dog's running loose, we can see their tag and know who that is and call them. But also, the state of Maine requires a late fee to be charged. And so if you have a $6 license fee and you have, let's say, 3 dogs, and you get a $25 charge for each of those dogs, that's absolutely ridiculous to be charged $31 per dog. So we do not want that to happen at all. We tried to not charge that, and we didn't charge it, and the state called up and ordered us to charge it. So I learned my lesson on that. You have to charge the fee. So we want everyone to get in here and register their dogs as soon as possible. You have plenty of time, you've got a whole month, so you can get your doggy jewelry. And then number 5, online services. We have many services that are available that people can hook into for the state for your re-registrations. Also, we want to remind people that Motor Vehicle has advised the town that there is an aluminum shortage, and so we have a reduced inventory of new plates that are coming in. So if you can use your current plate, if you're going to use it on a new vehicle, if you can find a new vehicle, please do so. And another item that we think would be very important to get out the information on is the town council packages. They are available before the meeting. A few people have had trouble finding them, so I want to make sure we go over where they are. We'd like to put them on the events part, but it takes up too much room. They're too much of a volume. So they've been placed on the www.pittsfield.org on the higher right-hand corner where it indicates government services. You would go to town council, then to town council packages, and then click on, this time, 2022. It has its own little folder, and you can go right in and get the package. And so then you can review the materials before the meeting. Before you print them out, because sometimes they've been rather large, make sure you look at the number of copies so you print out only the pages that you need. If you want copies from the town, we can certainly provide information too on important things. And so we're going to try to make sure everything is in the package. Usually it is until the last few meetings because everything is so hectic with the taxes due, the tax liens going on, the budget process, the election, and then end of year. So we'll be back to our regular sessions now, so that's good. For new items that are coming up, we wanted to let everybody know on number 7, water excavation will be taking place up in Forest Park on Arbor Terrace on January 5th, 2022. There is a service line issue. We want to make sure our family has water up there on Arbor Terrace. I've been assured, everybody's been assured that the water will not have to be turned off, but last time we thought only a tiny area needed to be turned off, and it was a huge area. So we just want to give a little warning to people that on Wednesday, January 5th, there should not be an issue, but there is a small possibility there could be water off. If it is, it will just be a limited time. This is a subdivision that we've applied for a drinking water project for Birchwood Terrace because there's been several water breaks. Once the line had broken in one place, it broke further down, and this has continued. There's an older type plastic line up there, and so it's having issues. We have not heard back on the application as of yet whether we will get funding. But there is some talk of looking at adding Arbor Terrace to that listing, at least for a section, because the same thing is starting to happen on the next road over. So that's something that Oliver Associates, our contractor, is looking at. It's very important to see if we can get funding. And these are projects that are listed on the capital improvement plan, but they do need funds. Number 8 is community development block grant CDGB advisory sessions. Shortly, we'll be planning out the Main Street sidewalk project, and so we're looking for volunteers for that committee. So if somebody's interested in planning projects, interested in the Main Street, interested in businesses or activity or pedestrian walkways, this would be a nice committee for you. We also will be looking at the airport hangar apron and taxiway project, in which we will have a really large project being built. It's amazing how much these projects cost in order to meet all the federal and state guidelines. So there'll be a new hangar that will be built, a T hangar. So if anyone's interested in having a spot in that T hangar that has an airplane housed in another community or some site or off on their own property, please contact Caleb Curtis, our fixed base operator, airport manager, at 487-5213. And so both of those projects, the downtown project and the airport hangar project, we're going to come up with a way to give some pictures or some slides that we can put on the website so people can watch the progress. The last item I'm going to mention is we have multiple board and committee positions that have come up as of December 31st. We have this expirations every year, and so anyone can apply for those positions, and that's been advertised quite a bit. We know that people are concerned about coming out during COVID, and so we do have really good air filtering system in the municipal building now. We've got some really good units that our fire chief EMA director came up with, and I've got to say we've had several contractors come into the building and they've seen the units and said we have the best ones that are available. So that was really good. I'll end with the planning board. Our planning board is getting down on the number of people that it has. It's very important that we find some volunteers for the planning board. So if any of the counselors or anyone out there is watching the meeting this evening knows of somebody that would like to be on the planning board, I know that they're 5-year terms, so that's sort of something that people maybe shy away from, but there are some unexpired terms, so there's some periods of time that are less than 5 years. But this is a board that is very helpful in looking at commercial development that's coming in town, working with the businesses, and then even people who are for commercial development, that's great, and people who are concerned about commercial development, that's great too, because they can look at the projects and make sure they're good projects for the town, that they're following all the requirements and everything. So you need balance. So anyone that's interested in the planning board, please contact our town clerk, Nicole Nicklin. It's very important that we get some more members on the board. We've got just the number that we need for a meeting, and so if somebody is ill, we're a little worried that we might have to cancel the meeting. And we've got some illnesses going on. So we want to make sure that we get some more members to the planning board. That's my last item. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Catherine. Let's move on to old business. There is none. Number 7, new business. We'll start with order 2103. Actually, that should probably read 2203. Correct?
It does say 2203, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does in the package, but on the sheet here, it's typo.
Oh.
Is it?
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Order 22-03. Order that the mayor appoint from among the councilors a finance committee, an ordinance committee, and a fair hearing authority consisting of 3 members each, and a police labor negotiation committee consisting of 2 councilors and the town manager.
All right, I don't believe orders require a motion. that correct?
They actually do.
They do? Okay. I'll look for a motion, please, from the council.
Is there a motion to open the order or
Move set to discussion, yeah.
set the discussion? I'll make a motion that we set this discussion order 22-03.
Okay, Pete, thank you.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, thank you very much. So what this is, a yearly filling of position. So if you look in your package for order 22-03, committee members prior, there's a finance committee that has a total of 3 councils. There are 2 positions open. Ordinance committee, there's 1 position open. Considering the councils on there now decide to stay. The Fair Hearing Authority Committee, 2 positions open, and the Police Labor Negotiating Committee, 2 positions open. So let's start with the Finance Committee. It is my duties as the mayor to appoint, but I'd like to ask for volunteers if we could do that that way. So let's start Finance Committee. Councilor Hall, are you interested in staying on that committee?
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I will.
All right, good. So we've got 1 position. Anyone else in council interested in the finance committee? Councilor Jester?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Very good. One more position. Anyone interested?
Pete, you go there.
All right.
Anyway.
Councilor Frost. Thank you very much. All right, we have Councilor Jester, Councilor Frost, and Councilor Hall. Thank you all very much. All right, Ordinance Committee. Councilor Wajdice, would you like to stay on that committee?
Yes.
Very well. Councilor Hall?
No.
No, you want to step down?
I mean, If I have to be on it, then I will.
Well, make your decision if you
No,
want
I
to be
don't
on.
want to be on it.
Okay, well,
There you go.
until we can't get two people, and I'll come back after.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I'm...
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a brave new world, my friend. So, so we have two positions open. Council Lodge will remain. Any other councils interested in serving on that?
What exactly do they do?
The ordinance committee, there is some information attached on this.
Page 33,
Page 33,
125.2.
right in the middle of the page. It's essentially, review proposed ordinances or changes either from the council, the town manager, the planning board. And we've done ordinances for fireworks, the use and times to be used. I'm drawing a blank now, but other things that the council would act on as ordinance.
They only meet as needed, right?
Yeah, it only be as needed. It's, I was on it 1 year and we never met at all. So can I put your name down, Mr. Saucier?
I mean, I'll pass unless someone else will do it, and I'll step up, but I don't have
I'll give it a
a
go.
deep passion.
All right, thank you, Councilor Frost. And I need one more person, please. I have Councilor Frost, Councilor Lodge.
I'll be the third.
Be the third. And Councilor Saucier, thank you very much. You may go a month and have a meeting, you may go the whole year, like I said before. It's not a regular thing.
Who determines the whole meeting?
That would be whatever's up for action by the planning board, council, or town manager. And I would assume that you'd elect somebody to kind of chair the meeting. The Fair Hearing Authority Committee, we have Council Hall that was on there before. Would you like to remain on that?
We never met last year, so
That's a good thing.
I don't know much about it, but yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay.
I can
So
stay on.
Council Hall will remain on that. Need two more volunteers, please, if we could. Anyone interested?
So this addresses the appeals on general assistance applications. It's very rare that we would have any. It would be somebody was turned down because of not meeting the state and town requirements, and so they appeal it.
Was there any recent meetings? Were there any this past year that you can think of?
We've had one in 20 years.
There you go. All right.
It's a good one.
Here and there, Councilor Jesse. He's on board with this kind of meetings. Thank you very much for that. And one more. Councilor Lodge, can I put you down for that?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
If it's that rare, why would you just ask for members to meet, have it come up at one of the meetings, say, get volunteers?
It's rare because we just haven't. We've been fortunate not have to do that, but it could be a regular thing at times. And the Police Labor Negotiating Committee. There are two councilors and the town manager on that committee. The deputy mayor and the mayor were on there before, so I need two volunteers for that. I'd be interested in being on that myself. So I'm going to add myself to that committee.
They meet, how often they meet?
I think it's as
Just
needed.
Just as needed.
As needed.
Yeah.
This will be probably a particularly busy year because the union contract comes up on December 31st.
And last year was kind of overwhelmed with
Yes.
the whole pandemic deal, and the police department looking for personnel. Any volunteers?
I got to be crazy, but I guess add me to the list.
You're the man, thank you. And Councilor Lodge, very good. All right, I believe that is it for Order 2203. We have the Finance Committee, Ordinance Committee, Fair Hearing Authority, and the Police Labor Negotiating Committee. And I think that's it. All right, thank you very much. Catherine, let's move on to Resolution 22-01, please.
Resolution 22-01, resolved that the town council appoint Catherine Ruth as official representative, Councilor Blank as official representative, and Councilor Blank as alternate to the General Assembly for the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, KVCOG.
I'll look for a motion.
Move we adopt resolution 22-01.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So I will ask for volunteers first if anyone's interested. I will put myself in that as one. Councilor Chinquette as the official representative. And I would look for a councilor for the alternate to the General Assembly for the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments. And that is, how often has that been imposed upon the council?
There is a annual meeting that's involved. It can be, it used to always be the evening, but they've changed it around so it's during the day, typically now. It's rare when I can't attend. Right now the meetings are by Zoom, so it works out well.
Okay. So it's normally once a year, but likely it wouldn't need the participation given the current events.
Probably not very much.
Okay.
Put me on there if you want.
All right, Councilor Hall, thank you very much. So that would be Councilor Chinquette as official representative, Councilor Hall as the alternate. So any further discussion? Since it is a resolution and we'll go to a vote, all those in favor of Resolution 2201 reading Councilor Chinquette as official representative and Councilor Hall as alternate to the General Assembly for the KVCG, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, it passes. Thank you very much. Next resolution, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-02, resolved that the town council appoint Blank as the alternate representative to the General Assembly for the Kennebec Regional Development Authority, KRDA, also known as First Park.
I'll look for a motion.
Move that we adopt resolution 22-02.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Catherine, could you provide a little information on this?
Yes, certainly.
Please.
First Park is the project of the Kennebec Regional Development Authority, a 24 unit of communities that, under the state law, have an enabling act so that they are an actual authority, similar to some of the other entities in the state of Maine. And so there are assessments to the town, and now there's revenue coming back for First Park, which is a business park owned by those 24 communities. And so there is a General Assembly that will meet 4 to 6 times a year. Right now it's being done by Zoom. It used to be done down at First Park or other locations in Oakland, Waterville area. There also are executive sessions in terms of executive committee and board of directors, but you would not be involved with that. So it could be 4 to 6 meetings a year.
All right. So likely as the alternate. I mean, you always make the meetings.
So far, yes.
Yeah. So it may be another title only. And the responsibilities of that council don't mean just to represent the town unless there are some items or issues that the town needs to present at the meeting or respond to.
Correct, and that would
be directed through you as town manager.
Yeah, it would be rare.
Do I have any councilor interested in being the alternate? You can put me in for that, Catherine. I'll put my name in on that.
All right, thank you.
Pete, when you jump up and stop me.
No, I'm not.
Thank you very much.
Beans out of control.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of Resolution 22-02 with Council Chinquette as the alternate representative, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. It passes. Council Chinquette is the alternate. Resolution 2202 is complete. Let's move on to Resolution 2203, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-03, resolve that the town council appoint blank as an alternate to the Main Services Center Coalition in addition to the town manager.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
Move we adopt resolution 22-03.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Catherine, could you provide some details on this also, please?
Yes, very briefly, the town has had membership in the Main Services Center Coalition off and on during the years. Communities such as ours, which are service centers, have different needs and responsibilities because so many people are coming in town to work or to shop or have a lot of growth issues. We get more revenue sharing to assist us with that now that the law has changed back. So there's a group that's somewhat similar to a little lobbying group that looks over the laws to see how they would affect communities such as ours. And there's about 32 service centers in the state of Maine. It's a very large communities like Lewiston, Auburn, down to places like the town of Pittsfield. Newport is the service center too. The committee meets, it can be any amount from 0 to, like there was 4 meetings last year.
And then also is alternate.
Yes.
Any councilor willing to volunteer?
Yeah, sure.
Councilor Saucia, thank you very much for stepping up.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what I just did, but.
Too late. All right, any discussion from anyone in the audience? Anyone online? Very well, council, any discussion? All right, very well, hearing none, all those in favor of Resolution 22-03, the Councilor Saucier is the alternate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Very well, it passes. Thank you, Councilor Saucier. Resolution 2204, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-04, resolve that the town council sign the expense warrants upon recommendation of the Finance Committee for the year 2022.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I move we adopt resolution 22-04.
A second.
All right, moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any discussion, questions from the audience? Anyone online? Very well. Councilors, any discussion, question, comments? Catherine, any input you want to add to this?
There's information in the council package, but basically between the state law, the town charter, your administrative code, there is a process in which if the Finance Committee comes in and either at a meeting or separately is allowed to come in and approve the warrants, and then others sign the warrants, we can execute the checks and send them out.
All right. No further discussion?
So we have to have all the Finance Committee members have to be signed on the warrant?
We have to have a majority, so we have to have 2 Finance Committee members and then 2 regular members. So you sign them at the meetings, and then in between you'll come in. So once enough Finance Committee members come in, and then other members, we can then send out the checks because they're approved. It's a unique item. Usually you have to put it on the town council agenda, list the amounts and the warrant numbers, but because of the way your charter and the administrative code is set up, and the fact you have your own Finance Committee, this process is legal and works well.
So the bills get paid.
Right. So it's kind of like a defined quorum. You need 4 councilors,
Yeah.
2 on the Finance Committee.
This is true.
Any further questions, councilors? Very well, hearing none, let's go to vote. All those in favor of resolution 22-04, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Resolution 22-04 passes. Kathy, please.
Resolution 22-05, resolve that the town council sign the certificate of commitment for sewer user rates and water user rates during the year 2022.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
Move we adopt resolution 22-05.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from audience? Anyone online? Yes, Cindy, I think you have your hand raised.
Yes, it's actually Nancy Grow
Okay.
on Washington Street. And I have a concern with the process where somebody in town buys a house. How do they get their water bill? Recently I've heard of 2 families in town that have never gotten a water bill. And I can understand, a few months, maybe 6 months, of one of these in town for 5 years. So I don't agree with any more water and sewer rate increases until we're sure everybody in town is paying their fair share.
So to
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So to respond to that, if you know of anyone that has not received a water or sewer bill for 5 years, please call up the town office and speak with myself, and we'll look right into that and work with our...
No, I won't do that because I want everything looked at. If I tell you who these people are, you're going to just bill them, and we're never going to know if there are other people in town that are not paying their water bills or not getting them. What is the process? The process needs to be looked at, and I'm hoping that the council will agree with me.
Well, Nancy, if I can jump in here, what I would suggest, if you could contact the town office with that information, and that at least give them the start with that one, and I'm sure there's a review that can be done with that. I'm very curious as to how that was missed for such a long time. But if you can get the town office started with that information, I'm sure as they have the time, they will look through it and do a review of that. Would you be able to do that, Catherine?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay.
And we'll talk with all of our associates about how we can take all the account numbers with their addresses and match it up to the tax map. So there's some easy way to do that. Yeah. Look at that.
It would be simple than me having to rat on somebody and you guys go back retro on them. I just think that the town should take the initiative and do a cross-reference.
Well, they will now, Nancy. Thank you for bringing that up, because I don't believe that was really an aware. I didn't know that.
I just found out about it myself.
Yeah. So it's likely that I'm sure the town didn't know either, but now that we are, we will certainly take the steps to do so, because there's no one here that wants to think that not everyone's having their fair share. So thank you for bringing it up. If you can do the follow-up of that, that'd be greatly appreciated.
So there is a process to address that. Just like if a tax bill is missed, a new house gets built, they don't get a building permit, or there's a building permit and the assessor doesn't pick it up and there's an error. You can go back 3 years on the tax bills, and of course you need to look into the situation and exactly what took place and determine what to do legally. And I'm sure there's a process with the water sewer. I don't know if it's 3 years or a year, but we'll check into that. I don't even know how that could happen. Yeah.
Ken, could it be a person who's got a delinquent bill who hasn't paid it? How just like people don't pay their taxes for 2 or 3 years.
Right, but they still would get a bill.
I know, but they might say they're getting a bill, they're not paying it. They may just claim it that way.
Well, we do have those people, yeah.
Yeah, could it be possibly one of those persons that, how far back does some of your delinquent payments, not get paid, bills not get paid?
There are some cases when people leave town in the property, we're not allowed to charge the new owner that comes in under the PUC requirements, so there are some old bills on the records, definitely. That was something that we're going to work with all of our associates on to go back through and establish like a more up-to-date process for the collection.
The town must have a list of all their water
We have
meters.
that, yeah.
And must be able to match that with residents.
Yeah.
Or a commercial building.
Yes. Yeah, it's set up just like the taxes.
Yeah.
You can see each of the accounts. You can match them up to the tax maps and to the taxable properties.
All right.
I'm not
any-
sure how large this is or if it's just one that's overlooked.
Or the third option is you get somebody who's done some water theft. Tapped in someplace illegally.
We actually have had that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had 3 of those. It's never good and they don't end up well.
Okay. Well, you end up without a well.
They end up in a lot of trouble.
All right. Anything else from anyone in the audience? Oh, okay. I see a hand up there. No. Okay, that was you, Catherine. Sorry.
Yes, I could have stopped it. I did that before.
Yeah. Now we went to a screen that's 1/10 the size, and I still can't see in my glasses. Councilors, any questions or comments? All right. Very well. Hearing none. Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of Resolution 22-05, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-05 passes. Catherine?
Resolution 22-06. Resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute a contract with the Humane Society, Waterville area, for the period of January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, for the sum of $1,970.51 per quarter, to not exceed $7,882.05 for the year, and authorize the town manager to sign same.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
Move we adopt resolution 22-06.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience? Anyone on Zoom? Very well. Let's go to council.
Great.
Yes.
Great question. One place in here, Catherine, it said that they give a report quarterly, whatever, how many animals they may capture, take in, whatever. How many do they, how much do we actually take in?
We'll have to ask them for the records. I've actually not seen a report.
Because it said that I didn't mark it here, but they said they would provide a report every quarter. So I was just curious, how much we're getting for our money.
Yeah, no,
Payments,
that's a good point. We have the records of how many animals we take over, but if citizens drop them off, we would need the records from the Humane Society. They've just gone through a major renovation and restructured the whole entity, have new employees, new procedures, new boards, some new directors. So I think that they're much more organized now. So we'll look forward to getting that report, and when we get it, we'll put it in the department report.
Is this what was budgeted in
Yes, because this is one of those, it is, because I've changed that. Remember they came in with a little increase, but the animal control officer was increased so much, I said I would even it out. So it will be taken care of in the budget. We wouldn't use all the money for the animal control officer that was listed.
Okay.
So this is covered, even though I had a 6% increase.
So what does this cover? I mean, is this just for the animal control officer to bring animals down there that are caught around town? Or is this for community members to bring animals that don't want them?
It is for community members to bring them, but there's a charge for the community member to do that. It provides a service that you can take the animals there. Now, the animal shelter, as well as other animal shelters in the state, this one had particular problems, and so they're getting reorganized. There was a period of approximately 3 months when we could not take any animals there, or it was very limited on what you could take, so it was quite an issue. And they have restructured themselves. We did look around for other entities to go to, and unfortunately, during COVID, there were a lot of funding issues with agencies such as this, so we could not find another location that would be a reasonable cost. So yes, community members can, but they have to pay for it.
So if there's a 3-month period where they're not available to take any animals, do we get charged for that quarter?
We did get charged for that quarter, and they were going to take the money. We would have had the contract canceled. So this has happened once before. If this happens again, we should seriously go to another shelter if we can find one. There are other shelters in the area, but the animal control officers had issues with them. There were issues from the state too. This is not an area that there's a lot of options in, unfortunately.
Anything else, councilors? All right, very well. Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of Resolution 22-06, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. 22-06 passes. Catherine?
Yes, Resolution 22-07. Resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to hire independent reviews and execute all paperwork for airport grants for the year 2022 as necessary in accordance with the town's bid policy, the Federal Aviation Administration FAA regulations, and the Maine Department of Transportation, Maine DOT regulations.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I move we adopt resolution 22-07.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience? No one on screen. Very well. Councilors, any questions or comments on the resolution 2207? This is pretty easy. All right, very well. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of Resolution 22-07, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-07 passes. Catherine, please.
Resolution 22-08. Resolved that the town council sign the Earth Day proclamation supporting community-wide activities. Earth Day is Friday, April 22nd, 2022.
I'll look for a motion from council.
I move we adopt resolution 22-08.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience on Resolution 22-08? Very well, councilors. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of Resolution 22-08, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-08 passes. Last one, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-09. Resolved that the town council sign the Arbor Day proclamation supporting community-wide activities. National Arbor Day is the last Friday in April. Friday, April 22nd, 29th, 2022, and Maine's Arbor Day week is the third full week in May, Sunday, May 15th through Saturday, May 21st, 2022.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I move we adopt resolution 22-09.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience? Very well, councilors. Anything? Very well. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of Resolution 22-09, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Resolution 22-09 passes. So we'll move on to discussion items. There are none, and we shall go to reports. Audience. Heather, anything you'd like to discuss?
Heather Donahue, 461 Webb Road. I wanted to just bring the council's attention to a couple items that were listed as far as upcoming items at the state level that may affect items that the council has dealt with before. We have a pretty restrictive marijuana retail type facility licensing regulations on the books right now, and there's a possibility of a bill coming up at the state level that would allow marijuana store and cultivation facilities licenses to deliver adult use marijuana throughout the state, including to municipalities that have not adopted an ordinance authorizing operation of those establishments. So currently, the state law reads that towns have to opt in to having retail establishments in the town limits. Pittsfield has not done that, so we do not permit retail sites for this. We have towns all around us that do. I believe there's 3 now, just in Detroit, about a quarter mile over our town line. And if this were to go into effect, that means that people could place orders probably online and then have it delivered to their homes here in Pittsfield or businesses or wherever. So that may be something that's coming down the line that would be of concern. And it's billed under modernizing Maine's adult use marijuana laws. So that might be something that the council would want to be considering of. And then the other item was as far as, where did it go? And these are in, if you didn't receive it, this is in the last town and city magazine from the MMA. There was another item as far as allowing accessory living quarters on a single family lot. And that might be something that the ordinance committee might want to be looking at as far as talking about development and housing development for our town as well.
Could you repeat that again?
Which one?
About the accessory.
Accessory living one? Oh, you're find it. It's on a previous page. That one actually had it's LD 1312. Allow for an accessory dwelling unit to be located on the same lot as a single family dwelling unit. So basically like a mother-in-law apartment or something like that. And that's a bill that was carried over from the previous section. And I believe it said that the carryovers have already had public hearings, so it's unlikely there'll be any more public input on it. But they would have regular updates in the MMA legislative bulletins, which you should receive as counselors. Those are the ones that come in the mail.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The town already has an ordinance, you can only have so many apartments within so many square foot of your property, right?
I know I didn't have a chance to go back and look up in the ordinances, but it does have, there's setbacks as far as what can actually fit on your lot.
Right, but you can only if you want to build a duplex or have a two-unit apartment, your property itself has to have so many square feet.
I believe the accessory dwelling would be different than a duplex. They're like separate.
Even 2 separate buildings, I think you have to have so many square feet.
Well, I think the accessory dwelling is attached to a main dwelling, and it would be like a mother-in-law type or a grandma type thing attached to the house. But yeah, we do have items on the law, on the books already for that.
Right.
But this is something that would be coming from the state as far as being able to allow it. And I think that has more to do with our setbacks as well as the zoning of where the buildings are. Because right now there's different zoning whether you're in town or out of town. So the C4 district is the country district, and it's a lot less restrictive as far as what you can do than if you have a lot in town. And most of that kind of stuff in town, you'd be restricted from your setbacks. You just literally wouldn't have room to put something else onto the footprint of the building. So it just depends where the zoning is that you're talking about.
Thank you, Heather.
That's it.
That article on the marijuana usage, is that something you could email a link to me?
Actually, if you go on the MMA website, under their, if you go to their menu,
Is it an article on there?
It's in the magazine that they'll send
Okay.
you. You should have
Yep.
got the magazine, and it's in
Yep.
the legislative update section there.
That's on my stack of things to read.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah,
Thank you.
and that's pretty much, it didn't have any more information. It just said, this is what the bill is.
All right. Thank you for presenting that. I appreciate that. Anything else? All right. Thank you. Nancy, you have something you'd like to make?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a couple things. First off, I was hoping to get an update on the White House on Washington Street that is unlivable. Second of all, I just wanted to mention that things have really quieted down quite a bit on Washington Street. The drug house is cleared. Traffic has slowed. We're doing pretty good here. We are going to sit down with the chief in February to discuss any concerns that we have on Washington Street, which I thought was a good idea. So we're doing that. One concern that I hear a lot about from some of the citizens in town is Catherine's hours. People see her there all day long, and I don't know why. She should have the same hours as the town office. I mean, are we giving her too much work to do? I don't know what the answer is, but it just seems strange that somebody can't leave their place of business. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Nancy.
So on an update on the White House, the day before we had the council agenda item in November, and the day after I spoke with the town attorney about the items that she needed from the code enforcement officer, and I've spoken with the code enforcement officer 3 times about providing that information. Our alternate code officer is going to be coming to cover the town on the 14th. And so this Friday, depending on the weather, they're going out to make their statements about the properties. And I told our regular code officer he needs to go out prior to that, get all the information, because if we have a storm, we want to make sure we have enough pictures and are updated and everything. And that information needs to go to the town attorney pronto to get this done, to take care of this property. There are some legal issues regarding the property beyond whether it would be a dangerous building or it would go to court. So we need to get all the information together from the 2 code officers. One our alternate will take it to court if it has to go, or he will speak at the public hearing if there is a dangerous building public hearing for it to be condemned beyond a regular being regularly condemned by the code officer. And then our regular code officer will be the backup and learn about how to do one of these cases. And so this is their most important project, and by the 13th, all the information is going to the town attorney, and I will assist them if necessary. So that's the update on the building.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to hear there's some progress there, Nancy, and I'm glad to see that the chief is reaching out to you to help you out there in that area. I know it's been a thorn in your side for quite some time.
It's probably a good thing
Yeah,
to
you
do
do a great job.
a couple of other areas too in town.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Anyone else online that would like to speak? All right, very well. We shall go to the council. I will start at my right and go the NASCAR route. Mr. Frost, Council Frost.
When I had this on that, the buildings there, the house on Lancy Street has made some significant improvements, but the house, now that they've cleared all the brush away, the house still does not look salvageable, but we'll see what becomes of it.
That's top of my list.
Yeah, so as an update on that, after several, I would say close to 9 contacts, it was agreed that the individuals owning the property would do some work on it. They did want to salvage it. They went right over a couple of trees on the date that they said that they would do it, so that was good. They still feel that they can upgrade the facility, and so they are going to be working on that. We'll probably present them some alternate information if they're not able to salvage the building. I would think that we could come back and talk with Donnie and yourselves about perhaps helping them with a dumpster to go to the transfer station. That might be an option to assist them, but they want to salvage the building. And I will say, once the trees were cut, there were 3 phone calls from people in the area that were interested in buying the building, so this was quite interesting.
I thought you were going to say they want to put the trees back. I said that out loud, didn't I?
The only other thing I see, down the transfer station, they were able to get the windmill down.
Yes.
Without any major incidences. So
Yes,
that's good.
they've been searched for a company for some time. Most companies looked at that, so they did not want the liability or any involvement in it, and did not want to provide the town with a certificate of insurance. And so we would have to have that. And so we were able to find a company up in the Exeter area, and they took the windmill down for under $5,000, just under that. So that was very good, because we were quoted up to $18,000. And so the windmill went 4 years beyond its life guarantee. So that was good. It was damaged, and so it's unsalvageable, which we thought it would be anyway. But that was very dangerous, because the brake was gone, and there was no way for anyone to climb up there to take care of it. So it just kept getting more and more damaged. It was damaged too much probably to be salvaged in the beginning. But it's down and in the metal can and being hauled away. It was a good demonstration project. We didn't pay any money for the project. We were one of 2 towns that applied for a Public Utilities Commission grant for renewable energy, and we got granted the funding for the wind turbine, and hundreds of students came and had went up and looked at it. They learned about wind turbines. So it was a good project, and it did provide us some income. And fortunately, it was not one that we purchased, but it was a grant.
That's all I got, Mike.
Thanks. Yeah, that went up when I just started getting into that industry. Was it 09 or 2010?
Yep,
It was. Councilor Lodgedice, Deputy Mayor Lodgedice.
I have no report this evening.
No reports, very well, thank you. Councilor Jester. No report, very well. Councilor Saucier.
I just want to say that I spent most of the meeting like a deer in the headlights, trying to figure out what's going on. But it was a pretty quick study, so I get my feet on the ground and get going as soon as I can. And I look forward to the opportunity of helping the town. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilor Hall.
Just 2 quick things. One, when the alternate code enforcer is around, they're going to go take a look at that web road.
Yes, they're also scheduled to
Location.
go down there on the on Friday, depending on the weather.
Okay.
And I believe that the code officer is going to try to go down there beforehand with somebody.
Okay, and I have some information that I can pass along.
That would be very helpful. If you if you have a picture of how it's set
Yeah,
up,
I have a couple.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I heard that the rec committee lost their the rec director. Is
Yeah,
that
they did, and they're organizing. I've asked them for any changes they'd like to the position, things they think should be changed, if anything. And I've also asked the rec director too.
and then we'll be posting that
Correct,
position. for-
yes, as soon as we get the information back. If there's something that they need to change in the job description, or if any worries on it, we should do that before we post
Sure,
it.
right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, but the town will be posting that
Correct.
somewhat soon.
Yes, very soon.
Okay.
Yep, that's an
Great.
important position.
Yep, and that is it.
All right, thank you very much. Just a couple quick highlights I'd like to throw in there. The wind turbine, as mentioned, back 2009, 2010 when that went up. And I was in the industry at the time. I'm actually into the solar side of things now. I'm just thinking out loud here if there's a possibility of land that we may develop for a solar site, move from one renewable to another, just something to think about long term. Because right now, there's solar plants going all over the state of Maine. Very, very busy. So just something to consider. I mentioned on the house on Lancey. It'd been so long going by, and I went by and I said, something's different here. I started looking. I don't think I've ever seen that house like that since I was probably a teenager. So it's actually looking good. It's good to get the kind of positive feedback from that. Eric, welcome aboard. Ron, welcome aboard. Thank you very much for being willing to step up and do this. It's a thankless job. It's a payless job. It can be a pain in the behind at times. you may get a lot of calls, a lot of people stopping, well, what about this, what about that? You know, you'll learn to separate the wheat from the chaff. So thank you very much, and appreciate all the councils for stepping up on the council positions that we had this evening. So one thing I want to bring up to, we need to start thinking about an election for the 7th seat. I'd like to get going on that as soon as possible. First opportunity. We don't need to rush it, but kind of like to get that moving. I mean, how soon do you think we can get the ball rolling on that, Catherine? What do you
I'm
think?
hoping the town clerk will be able to work on that for the second meeting in January.
That'd be great.
It just was so hectic around the end of the end of the year that she just couldn't get to it.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I just want to make sure that's on the forefront. I'd like to get full strength up here. It isn't that large position, so it isn't a district that's not being represented, but, hopefully we don't have a whole lot of tie votes. That's going to be difficult to deal with. So that's really all I have. The last thing I want to say is I appreciate the council's trust in my abilities, and I will do my absolute best not to let you down. And I have always had I'm not the one that likes to use cliches, but I've always had an open door policy in anything and everything I've ever done. So please, you all have my number, my email. Please reach out, talk to me. Let's try to get things stay in the right direction. So just one more thing I want to add is that there's going to be some times where we have difficult decisions to make. We've already made those, and two new gentlemen will see that as we go. Just one thing that, and I remember former Councilor Nichols say this time and again, I represent my constituents in my district, what's good for them. And I applaud that. So we all have our districts and areas that we represent. That's one piece of the big puzzle, which is Pittsfield. So whatever we need to do is got to benefit Pittsfield, and it will benefit its citizens. So that's all, the only preach I'm going to do, at least for this meeting. And thank you all very much. I'm looking forward to a fantastic year. And with that, I will look for a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Moved and seconded. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Not 10:30.
Isn't that awesome? This is actually one of the easier ones we've had in a long time.
Goodbye.
I don't think everybody signed this. Oh, yeah, did Pete sign?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?